This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase. But did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2018 Volkswagen Tiguan. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4. Down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here Volkswagen Tiguan for a couple of different reasons. First of all, I have no idea how to pronounce the name. Tiguan. I'm not 100% sure. But the second reason, and the more actual reason why I'm excited to be driving this, is because I have not driven one of these before. First gen or second gen, 2018 was the first year for the second generation. So this is actually the second generation Tiguan. And so I'm excited to see what it's all about. I see these fairly frequently on the road, and so let's see if it's any good. Now before we get on to the rest of the video, if you guys are interested in selling your car, please click the link in the description below. Cashforcars.com will buy your car with a salvage title, good title, running, non-running, whatever it is. Please go support the channel by clicking the link in the description below. You can get a fast and easy quote for free, and they will pick up your vehicle in less than 24 hours. So let's get back to that 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4. Horsepower and torque are up on the screen. You have to remember that this is just a little 2-liter turbo. It's not anything crazy. You know, it's not going to rip your face off or make you upchuck your lunch. That being said, I will put the miles per gallon up on the screen as well as the liters per 100 kilometers over the top for the foreign viewers, if that is something you are interested in. And so we're out here on the test track. We are warmed up even on this cold, cold day. And so we'll put into sport mode. We'll give it a little acceleration test. All right. 2-liter turbo, 8-speed auto, sport mode. There aren't any paddle shifters or anything, and I'm not going to plus minus, so. Right, so it's not anything crazy. It's doing a good job. It definitely moves. I don't feel like this car is severely underpowered, although you can kind of tell just by hearing and how it revs. You can tell the motor really wants to go, but this is just a heavy vehicle. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission, and so far so good. It's been shifting pretty well. 8 speeds is pretty common nowadays, especially for 2018, even 2 years ago. 8-speed is pretty commonplace, and I don't really have any complaints about it. Last but not least, the Tiguan is all-wheel drive. So that is the 4Motion logo you get on the center console as well as on the back, and I like that. Definitely, I will never buy an SUV or a vehicle in this class that is not all-wheel drive. I think it's pointless to get the ground clearance and the bigger vehicle and then not get the all-wheel drive. It's a little foolish to me. And so I'm glad that this has the all-wheel drive. So let's talk about the interior. We have a bit to go through in here. Well, in front of me, I have two main gauges. On the left is my tachometer with my coolant temperature down at the bottom, and on the right is my speedometer with my fuel at the bottom. Then I do have a little screen in the center, and I'm showing a couple of different screens that I can scroll through on here. I like the customization of this. This screen's a little bit small. However, this isn't that expensive of an SUV, so I think it's totally fine. I think it definitely looks like a 2018 Volkswagen screen, and that's what it is. That being said, I really do enjoy all of the information that the screen gives you. I think the more information, the better, and the Volkswagen really does offer that. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my cruise control options, as well as my volume. And on the right, I have my voice command, skip track, and my selector for that center screen and the gauges we just talked about. Now, there's two interesting things about the steering wheel. First of all, on the left, the logos, the signs corresponding with the buttons are very atypical. The volume is this sort of ramp with a plus and minus. Normally, it's either like a little speaker with a plus and minus or just the plus and minus. Interesting that they add this sort of ramp, and that's very typical of Volkswagen and Audi products. The second interesting thing, and arguably the more interesting thing, is the steering wheel itself. It's nice and thin. It's very, very thin. You can easily put your hand all the way around it. It feels very nice. It's nice and light. And the steering wheel is one of your 3 connections to the car, the other 2 being your pedal and your seat. And so this really does add a nice driving feel to the Tiguan. I like that a lot. To the left of me, I just have my headlight switches. And then on the door, I have my power locks, power windows, and power mirrors. I do have heated mirrors, which is a very nice feature. Moving into the center, I do have 2 climate control vents and then my touchscreen infotainment system. I do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I am pleasantly enjoying. It works like it does in every other car, and that's my favorite thing about Apple CarPlay is that you can get into any make, any model with Apple CarPlay, and you automatically know how to work it, and I think that that's super important. But let's take a look at the rest of the infotainment. So I have radio, media, Apple CarPlay, images, telephone, vehicle, sound, climate control, and settings on the next page. So let's take a look at vehicle. This is really, really cool. This says Think Blue Trainer. So this is my MPG since the start. Average MPG, my blue score since start. This is really, really cool. I like that a lot. Now we go into climate controls, and the really cool thing is that it actually gives you a visual of the interior of your Tiguan. This is really, really cool and something I don't really see in other cars. The reason I say that this is super cool is obviously, I know what the interior of the car looks like. That's not the cool part. I just appreciate the attention to detail. Some designer had to actually design or really redesign the interior of the Tiguan just for this center screen. Volkswagen took the time and effort to actually do this, and I really, really like that. The interesting thing as well is that there's actually a sensor in front of the screen. So as you can see, I'm looking at the climate controls, but when I move my hand close, then it opens up other options. When I move my hand away, it actually just goes back to just showing those logos. That is really, really cool, and also great attention to detail. Did they have to do this? No, but they did, and I appreciate it. Now, this is really interesting is that I have an images tab. So I can actually put in a CD, SD card, or USB, and I can just look at images in here. I'm not sure what the purpose of that really serves, but I can do that, and that's pretty neat. That's really all the interesting parts of the Volkswagen infotainment system. I think it's really easy to use, very simple, very intuitive. I feel like I could put my grandparents in this car and they can sift through all these menus without too much fuss. And that can't be said about all manufacturers. Sometimes I feel like I have to know the Python coding language in order just to turn my heated seats on in some of these other manufacturers. Nice and easy here in the Volkswagen, and I like that a lot. Down below that infotainment screen, we do have tactile climate controls as well. Like I said, we do have climate controls in the center screen, but I like the fact that I actually get normal buttons. That is huge for me because if that screen breaks, something happens, or if I want to change the radio while changing my climate controls, I can do that. I do have heated seats, which I am pleasantly enjoying. They are very nice. And of course, I do have dual zone climate, auto, fan speed, things like that. Nothing really too crazy. Down on the center console, I have 2 USBs in as well as an aux and a 12-volt charging outlet. Then I have the shifter and center console. The shifter itself feels nice. This is the same thing you'll find in pretty much every Volkswagen product. That being said, it does feel good and I like it. Also, Audis usually get this type of shifter as well, so I pleasantly enjoy it. To the left of that, I do have my start engine button. This is actually where you start the car, interestingly enough. Then I have my power parking brake and my traction control off. And then on the right side, I have my automatic start stop on and off. Down below that, I have my little 4Motion badge and then my mode button. So the mode button actually works in 2 different ways. You can spin it or touch it. So when you touch it, you can sift through Eco, Normal, Sport, and Custom. But then when you twist it, you have Off-Road, Off-Road Custom, Sport, and Snow. So that's very, very interesting. The fact that you twist it for different modes, but you could also press it for other modes. The other interesting thing is the graphics that come up on the screen. A lot of cars show the car and then, they turn red for sport or something. This just shows the reflection of the kick panel, or the bottom half of the doors, of the Tiguan. I assume that's a Tiguan. So that's pretty interesting. To finish out the center console, I do have 2 cup holders, and that's it. The seats are nice and comfortable. Like I said, they are heated, they are power. They do have lumbar support, and overall they're very comfortable. However, we do have back seats, so let's do a back seat review, and then we'll take a look at the cargo space. All right, so we're in the back of the 2018 Volkswagen Tiguan, and a couple things to note back here. I do have a USB charger, which is very nice, and a 12-volt outlet down on the center console. Of course, power windows, power locks. I mean, that's to be expected. Plus, I do have the center console that folds down with 2 cup holders, but that's really it. Legroom is great. Headroom is great. I moved my seat back. I like to get away from the steering wheel a little bit. So this is pretty far moved back. And so if you're actually nice, you can move up a little bit. Like this seat is moved up a lot and there is tons of leg room. What I didn't realize about the Tiguan until just now is that this is actually a 3-row SUV. I always feel like these are smaller than a 3-row SUV. And so reluctantly, we will do a backseat review because these back seats don't look big, and I am big, and that is not a match made in heaven. So here we go. Wow. So I can't even put this seat up. This back seat is for children, and that is it. You're not going to be transporting adults back here. If you really truly need a 3rd row, and this is blatantly obvious to me time and time again, get a minivan. Get a minivan. I just drove the 2021 Honda Odyssey and the Toyota Sienna. Both of them have great 3rd rows. If you really need a 3rd row, get that. But if you're happy with a 2-row SUV, a big trunk that if you absolutely needed to transport your brother's kids somewhere, you could do, then this is a good size for you. These seats should stay down. These are not good. Yeah, you should be able to see how jammed I am back here. But we will take a look at the cargo space with all of that being said. All right, so we're on the back of the Tiguan. I do have a button too. So as you can see, decent trunk space even with these seats up, but these seats do go down. And I do get a Volkswagen first aid kit, which is kind of interesting. Now we got to talk about the looks of the Tiguan. And I just want to say, first of all, I love this color, this chalk color from Volkswagen. I think is a very, very modern, very cool, very good looking color. I don't know what it is. It's the fact that it's not really the, typical silver or white that we see from a lot of cars. Look in any parking lot and you see a lot of silver, a lot of black, a lot of white. This is a nice middle ground without being flashy. When someone's like, I don't want a white, black, or silver car, I start thinking like, all right, a blue, a red, the occasional orange or green. But this still gives you an option to be a little bit different, but not, put a target on your back when it comes to having a flashy color. I also think the Tiguan is a rather handsome looking SUV. I think it's proportioned well. I think it's modern enough. It doesn't look outdated quite yet, even though this car is coming up on 3 years old. It doesn't look outdated. And again, that can't be said about some of its competition. And so my final thoughts here on the Tiguan is I like it a lot. I've always liked Volkswagen products. I've always enjoyed driving them. And that's no different here in the Tiguan. The driving feel is actually really, really nice. It turns in nice and light. It's light enough, but also heavy enough where it doesn't feel like artificially light. It just feels like a simple, direct vehicle. And honestly, I've driven 2 70s Volkswagens in the last couple of months, and that's the same thing to be said about those cars. So I like the fact that it's actually kind of holding true to the Volkswagen name of the people's car. It's something that everyone can get into and everyone can drive with relative ease. I like the infotainment system, like I said, very easy to use. I like the all-wheel drive. I like the chalk color. I like the features, the dual zone climate. And so that's it. That's what I like about this vehicle. I really truly do like the Tiguan. I think this is a great SUV, and I like the fact that it's modern enough to compete with modern SUVs. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for allowing me to take out their Tiguan. This is one of their used cars on the lot. They have hundreds of used cars at all times. If Volkswagens are not your thing, if Toyotas are not your thing, still go check out toyotaofnaperville.com. They have tons and tons of cars on the lot at all times, and I think they'll find something that you'll enjoy. But I hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.